Welcome to the FBC Durant podcast. I'm Garrett.
I'm Corey.
I'm Sarah, and today we are going to continue with our ministry check-in series, and we have Trey Hedrick with us. He is the BCM director for the Southeastern BCM.
Wildest hunting experience in 3 words.
Monkey tastes bad.
Monkey tastes bad.
Ew.
Very interesting.
Did you hunt the monkey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
And you're just not as good as venison. Okay, got it. It's fair. There's no backstrap
Very
on.
clear.
Gross.
Very
No
concise.
backstrap on a monkey. That's okay.
No.
Very good. All right, next. What would be your go-to karaoke song in a pinch?
I mean, something Whitney Houston.
Got to be
Maybe.
Whitney.
Yeah.
Of course.
Period.
All right, and last, what is your best pawn shop find?
Pawn shop
Man,
king.
The
there's
real ones
such-
know.
I mean, I found a really, really nice ball glove for like $10.
I like that.
You know, but I think maybe I bought a rifle and
Oh, really?
scope that was probably worth like $2,500, and I spent $600. I think that's probably the best.
Steal.
Yeah.
I like that.
I've heard,
The pawn
I've heard
finds.
Dustin Searles complain a lot about you in pawn shops.
Yeah?
I'd sent Dustin deals this week.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah, you share the wealth.
I
feel
share
like.
the wealth.
After he goes and buys the nicest things, like, hey, they also have this other thing. And it's all right.
I love that. Yeah, it can be a race to the
Oh, it's
gold,
a race.
right?
It's a race.
All right, very good. Well, we're glad to have you. If you would, as we focus on the Baptist Collegiate Ministries and your role, would you share a little bit about your life, maybe the influence of the BCM, things that have led you to this ministry role?
Yeah. So I grew up in a Christian household. My dad was a minister and moved around a lot, but church to church, place to place. Got to see a lot of stuff. And along the way, my family did a really good job of like displaying an authentic faith and raising me to know the Lord, fear the Lord. And so I was around age 8 when I surrendered my life to the Lord, realized that I was in need of grace and knew that like He wasn't Lord of my life and He needed to be. But I think my story is really similar to a lot of kids that grow up in church. The bulk of my sin issues come after, and the bulk, like a lot of my high school years, are lived in like this lukewarm 1 foot in the church and 1 foot in what I want to do, right? My identity is in sports. My identity is in who I'm with, what I'm doing. And, I was known as a really good kid, but I was an expert at hiding my sin, which is kind of the church brat syndrome. I get to my freshman year of college at Carl Albert State College there in Poto, the JUCO dream.
Yeah.
And there's the dorm I lived in we called it the BSU, was next door, and the door was always open. The ping pong table was always there. And so I was there all the time. Got invited to come to worship, and the rest was kind of history from a standpoint. I met a lot of my friends there, found a lot of the people that I connected with, and then we all were kind of experiencing the same thing. Like our faith was becoming our own. Our parents were not calling the shots as to what we did on a regular basis, and so all of a sudden showing up to a worship service when it was my call felt a little bit more meaningful. And really through that first semester, started to kind of contemplate sin that I was in from like my high school years, my identity, and finding my identity in things where places that didn't belong, and all the things that I had just become so good at keeping surface level exposure to, and I really felt like I kept appearances up as a good kid, but my heart was far from the Lord. And at the end of the day, it was a really pivotal moment in my life. Between my I think it was the start of spring of my freshman year, where I really surrendered my life to the Lord in a way that all right, you've called me to preach back here when I'm 14. I'm going to follow through on that. You've called me to find my identity in you. I'm going to come through on that. And so started to preach and teach and things, and a lot of country churches, and then transferred to Southeastern for my junior year, which is really pivotal for me because it exposed me to maybe a Christian community that I hadn't had before, where I think transparency was more of the norm, which was so good for me. Like being able to just be honest. Like I found that Satan couldn't shame me in things I was hiding from if I had brothers that I knew I could share with, and I knew that would be really good to pray for me in those things. So I'm in the midst of walking out of sin. It's a place that I found investment in discipleship. I walked into Brandon Brister's office my first semester and was like, hey, I've never had somebody as a spiritual mentor sit down with me and walk me through the scriptures. Would you do that? And lo and behold, he would meet with me once a week, and we would walk through the scriptures. And we were old school. We walked through the Baptist faith and message.
There you go.
Right? Verse by verse. He made me look up all these verses to kind of understand why we believe what we believe. And it was really good. Like, I'd never had somebody invest in me on that level before. And so I was growing, not only just like in this spiritual mentorship relationship, I was growing in being able to teach and preach the word and some of those opportunities. And so my 2 years here were really rich. I really enjoyed it. It was really good for my growth overall. I was challenged to go on mission, to take the gospel to the nations, something I was introduced to during that time. I get to the end of my senior year, and I'm just kind of up in the air as far as what I need to do. I take a couple of jobs just to kind of get through. I'm dating my wife now at the time, and I'm waiting on Paige to graduate so we can get married, and I'm just kind of on the in-between. I'm working at the time for Gary McNeil as a youth ministry intern, and he is reminding me often that I'm not really called to youth ministry. Like, it's one of those things you're in it, and it's like, man, this is probably not where I'm landing long term.
Learning on the job.
But I got extended in that in-between time of waiting. I got extended the invitation when Brister left to go to Tulsa. Colby extended the invitation to come on staff as the associate. Yeah. And that's really the beginning of me being here. I did that for a semester and then left to go pastor a church for 3 years, and never saw that coming. Really felt like college was going to be it. I really loved it. And then about a semester into being a pastor, I was like, no, I think this is it. I think this is what I want to do for the remainder. And when Colby left, I think that was 2015, applied and came on here. And it's been 10 years now.
Awesome.
Doesn't seem possible.
Very cool. 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
As of this year, huh?
March 1st was
That's
10.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the BCM is integral to so many and such a big part of our community, and has such good relationships with our local Southern Baptist churches. But one might think, we have college ministries within our church. So what is the significance of a ministry on a college campus? What would be the need?
I think, number one, we're not here to replace the local church. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the things that was so good for me in my time here was I knew BCM was meant to connect me to the local church. Yeah. And so during my years of college, I worked with Gary because I was a college student at First Baptist. And through that, I started having an opportunity to teach college life group and, exercise some of my gifts there. But it was always a balance between the two. And I think BCM makes sense in conjunction with a college or with a church, even if they have a college ministry, because we are front door to the campus. We are, if you think about the church scene in Durant as an example, and this is not unique to other areas of the Bible Belt, there's a lot of solid churches within this one place. You can all have a college ministry of your own, and you can all attempt to reach the campus in your own way. And there's nothing wrong with that at the end of the day if that's the way the churches choose to operate. Churches are autonomous. They have the right to do that. I think it makes a ton of sense, though, to pull resources and to have one mission outpost on the campus with a strategy to reach the campus, to share the gospel, to reach students, and for that mission outpost to have as its banner that, hey, we want students to be lifelong members of the church, and that starts in their college years. We don't want the ownership of their discipleship experience. We want to be a part of that to train them for things specifically that we're doing here in ministry. But we want students plugged into churches, and we want churches investing in college students. I mean, we look at it and we say, I mean, it's appealing to college students because everyone's in the same age bracket.
Yeah.
And yet we have so much that we cannot offer because we don't have the multitude of generations. We don't have older wisdom to pour into them. What we have are college juniors discipling college freshmen. And that's deeply meaningful. I'm thankful for the upperclassmen that invested in me along the way. But we also know that there's something that is, there's going to be some life that's missing in that. Right. We have somebody that's just a little further along guiding somebody, and that's great. But we want people from retired age investing in college students. We want them thinking long term about what their life in the church ought to be like. We want people with, that spiritual legacy investing in our students, because at the end of the day, I think we want to measure success by longevity and fruitfulness. And if we are raising up people that give us something here for a short period of time, and when they leave here, they're not connected to the body, they're falling off, they're not, walking with Jesus for the years following and really kind of off on their own, then I think we failed.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's something that we got to own. And our aim and ambition is to make sure that students are connected to Jesus and long-term connected to the church.
Yeah, that's good. I personally, here at Southeastern, but also at UCO, is where I kind of started or was introduced to the BCM or Baptist Collegiate Ministries there. But in both places, it definitely felt like a home away from home, but also like learning to live life with the accountability of Scripture and my relationship with Christ. But the BCM allowed for leaders within the BCM to catch me. They knew where I lived. They knew my dorm room. They'd catch me on campus. There was just such an accessibility to me as an incoming freshman, literally trying to figure life out, just survival, but also how to live life in community, along with my relationship with Christ. And it was vital. It was huge to me because I was floundering, trying to figure out what I was doing. Yeah. And a guy, Grant. Finley, yes. I almost forgot his name. But Grant Finley scooped me up, took care of me, and it was centered around the BCM, so it was a huge deal to me. But, kind of a home away from home at times.
Well, it's such a pivotal time, right? I think during these years, you're deciding who it is that you're going to be.
Yes.
Deciding where your identity is going to be. I watch this in freshmen every year. Like, who I was in high school is not here. And for some, you see them kind of embrace a new opportunity. And some, it's like they're terrified because I don't know who I am and I don't know what is going on. I think that's something that everyone experiences on some level. But man, to catch people in that bracket, that age place where so many things are being decided, and to connect them to a genuine sense of like gospel community on campus, and to help them navigate who Jesus is and what he wants from their life. Like he wants relationship with you, and he has like plans in store for you for the rest of your life. And if you'll buy in now, this is a huge part of what we do, trying to convince students to, if you will buy in now, you're going to have a life with a lot less regret.
Yeah, because I feel like this time period is like like you said, you're making so many decisions. Like, you're deciding what you're going to do for a career, what you're going to major in. A lot of people are deciding who to date, who to marry, like, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think to myself, like, about my own journey and about just, like, following the Lord and, like, really trying to do my best at that, or and failing, because don't we all? But like being surrounded by people who just encouraged me to keep pursuing after the Lord kept me from probably marrying someone that I shouldn't have married. And I met my husband here, so shout out for that. But that's not even it. It's just like making decisions. And if you're doing that while following the Lord, I mean, you can just see that's obviously going to be better in the long run. So I think it's just like you said, such a pivotal time. And then on the other end of that, on the other end of the freshman thing, like seniors, like getting close to graduating, making all those decisions, then graduating, I do think it's a huge help to already be connected to the local church. So I just wanted to say I'm encouraged by the partnerships that the BCM has had with the local churches, because I think it's so healthy for college students, because it can be difficult. Like when you graduate, it's just a different type of transition. Like you're going from being in college and being around all your friends all the time to your friends moving all over the place, and you're starting a job and you're potentially getting married, and it's like all these different things. And whenever you are connected to the local church and a local body of believers, it's not like you go out into the world and you aren't in community. Like you still are. It's just different. And so I'm really encouraged by the connection that our BCM has to the local church. I think it sets college students up really well to continue their walk with the Lord after graduation. So.
You want to know one of the fun things about being here for 10 years is that my first spring break trip, I got to watch some young love developing in the back of the van on our way to spring break.
Oh, really?
Well, Cole and Sarah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, me and Cole did meet on a spring break trip. We
That's
sure
crazy.
did. I saw Cole and his long flowing locks, and it was just,
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. His hair was
Smitten.
long at that time, though. He was still playing basketball here.
Bring
He had
it
that
back.
long hair. But yeah, we met on a BCM trip, which,
I don't know if I knew that. That's cool.
yeah, we met at Glorietta.
Building
Yeah.
Christian
Well,
marriages.
Building
Yeah,
Christian
building,
marriages.
truly building some Christian marriages.
That'll bring him in right there. I just keep thinking of the word clumsy. Like I came into college like clumsy. It's like you're starting over and you're literally learning how to walk, but with life, not just, I don't know. I felt like I was just bouncing around everywhere and having a community. I mean, it can be any community guiding you, but like having the BCM was such a helpful community to guide me in the right directions. Like you said, in transparency and with the understanding, like we follow the word, we follow Christ. And I think a visual representation of introducing myself to the church, Brister would, I don't know if I asked or if he just was like, take this guitar, you're going to go help Gary over at First Baptist with music. And I would take his guitar, his old Ovation, and I would go over and play and embarrass myself on a Wednesday night, come back, and he'd be like, how'd it go? And we would game plan. So like it's a home away from home, but also in some ways a training ground to know how to serve the church and the world, which was incredible for me to see the world and how to serve church with whether it was missions or road crew, going in little churches every Wednesday. It's just a great experience, and BCM allows those opportunities. So I was thankful for that.
Yeah. Even within the context of what we do on a week to week, we try to think through the lens of like, if it doesn't make sense for the local church, it probably doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we have ministries that look different than what churches are. Like we have a freshman specific ministry that we started this year. And you would look at the local church and say, well, that's probably not something that's happening there. But our end goal in that is that we are producing people who have a mind and heart to make disciples and are equipped to do that. And that we are equipping people who can guide a conversation. So I think that better equips them for like life as a life group leader at some point in time. And it's allowing them to dip their feet into that world. So it's just sophomores to freshmen. But I think long term, those skills that they acquire through that pay dividend long term. And so how we do worship on a Thursday, how we equip students for what we do, all of that we hope translates to what they're going to do in life after here.
Right. So we've been on a journey of having a BCM building for a while, and we've talked about it a lot within the church of that struggle. But I guess I'm thinking through this right now. But what did you learn, and maybe your team learned through that process? Because you guys could only probably speak to that from your personal experience in leading and through those 10 years, seeing that come to pass. But what do you feel like now that you're in the building? Like, I would say you're definitely in the building now.
Yeah.
Looking back, what do you feel like you learned?
Yeah. And for those that maybe don't know, we're without for 8.5 years.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I would say that for those 8.5 years, we experienced a whole lot of different feelings about it.
Yes.
Right? Because there were multiple times that looked like we were going to get fundraising off the ground. It never happens. And through the midst of that, I think the thing that I felt most drawn to is just to say, all right, what is the backbone of who we are and what we do? We exist to reach students and to make disciples and to connect people to churches. And with or without a building, like, we're going to do our best to continue to make that happen, to roll with punches. And if the early church could do this without a facility, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
And ministry looked different. Our presence on campus looked different. But at the end of the day, I look through those years at some students that just came out having a lot of resolve,
Yeah.
If you wanted to meet in our ministry for some of those years, you had to really pay attention to announcements. You had, or the COVID years. I mean, you might be outside and the temp to begin the night might be 45 degrees,
there was a couple of cold ones.
dropping into the 30s. Yeah, not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
I really, I think I looked at the building as something when time is ready and as the Lord is ready, where we'll keep praying for His provision, and we think this is what it is, and we think this will eventually be a thing. But in the meantime, let's focus on students.
Yeah.
And I think the questions I got from folks is like, man, I bet you're thinking about that building a whole lot. And I'll be honest, there were times where I was like, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But that's not what's driving us.
Yeah.
Now we get to the fundraising of the building and the whole process of construction and all those things. And I just want to say, first off, I didn't lead the charge in fundraising. I was a voice in telling the story of what's happening in our ministry, but more capable hands were leading the charge in that, and I'm really thankful. But along the way, I got to watch God provide in ways that we hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And we really got to see God move around the community in ways and create buy-in. One of the things about being on campus is you feel like campus feels like a little bit of a pocket. You work on campus. It feels like a part of the community that's sometimes disconnected from the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we would have people 6 years after the fact of losing the building that are in our church, like, not know we lost the building. We'd have people come to campus and be like, well, hey, what happened? Are y'all not around anymore?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're still like a thriving ministry.
Yeah.
Like, it's still happening. All that to say, you feel a little bit forgotten at times. And it was really wild to watch us come into maybe more of the view of the community, and to see everyone rally, and to see it be something that was really important to people, to see that this building is here and that it is up and running for the next 100 years, that we don't have to worry about fundraising another one. It was awesome. Really exciting to see. And in that, I tell the story that we were on our way to Momentum, which is like our statewide worship event. And it was to say that I'm tired by that point in the semester is an understatement. Like, you've been running really, really hard. It's the second weekend in September. And this particular trip, it's like 100 degrees outside, like it is. And we have a blowout on I-35. Pull over. The dad in me is mad that we're not going to make good time anymore. We're going to be late. And I get out the jack from the back of the van, and those things are never made to work for the size vehicle that you have. So I'm like already sweat rolling down my back as soon as I roll out of the van. You just sense like we're not ever going to get there. You feel just a sense of despair. And in that sense of despair, this dude pulls over in his truck behind us, gets out like he's a NASCAR pit crew. He had just changed. He said, I just changed a flat on a van down the road. I got you. Comes out with a jack. Him and his son jacks us up. Has the impact drill. Choo, 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 choo. Throws throws the spare on. And we were on the road in 5 minutes.
That's incredible.
I mean, almost to the point you're just like, what is going on? That was insane. Get there, we drop everybody off, and one of my students was like, hey, I'm from Mustang. I know the guy that owns this tire shop. Let me call him and see if he'll help us out so we don't have to ride home on a donut from Yukon to Durant. And lo and behold, the dude shows up late on a Friday night, opens the bay window. There's, hundreds of tires up on the rack, grabs one, throws it on for free, and sends us on our way.
That's crazy.
And I just remember that feeling when I saw the bay window go up, and I looked at all of the resources that were there. And I felt the Lord speak to me in that moment and be like, I've got resources that you need.
Yeah, I got it all.
Why don't you just trust me that I've got what it is that this ministry needs moving forward, and in my time it'll get provided.
That's cool.
And so I would say that's a big part of the part of getting here. Now getting here, we function a little differently. It's a lot. Our schedule's a little more crowded.
Yeah.
But man, to watch the way that this building meets the needs of students, to see students utilize it on a weekly basis and a daily basis, really, and to watch pockets of campus show up to this building on a regular basis that we had no access to before this was here, is just incredibly encouraging. I can think of a handful of students right off the top that are walking with Jesus today, have been saved since January, that our first encounter with them was at the ping pong table. Somebody invited them to come play ping pong.
Oh, that's cool.
Somebody invited them to lunch in here. And just today at lunch, I met a student that's been on campus. He's like, I heard about lunch. I want to come over. I've been over a couple times, but never made connection. And so can't stress enough that the access to campus that the building has given us has made an eternal impact.
Yeah. Yeah, more than a building for sure. For a student that comes into the BCM, what would be the desired outcome for their life? And I think you may have shared this a little bit, but what would be in view of your mission and vision and strategy for your ministries? What would you hope for a student to come out with, I guess I'm saying? Yeah. For several years now, we've had the mission statement. We exist to raise up faithful ambassadors of Christ who fulfill their ministry at any cost. And I think for students that come here, I want them to know that the Lord has an identity for them. They don't need to create one on their own. Yeah. They need to surrender to the one that He has laid out for them. Yeah. They need to understand that being an ambassador is a key part of that identity. I don't want you to live a passive faith. I want you to pursue Christ and follow Jesus. And I want you to take seriously the role of living a life of integrity and sharing the gospel and making disciples, and knowing that, the Lord is on mission to redeem the world, and He is making His appeal through the redeemed. And if you are one of the redeemed, own your role as an ambassador and go on and fulfill the ministry. And we talk about the good works that God's prepared beforehand for the rest of your life. Fulfill them at any cost. Yeah. We talk about high buy-in for our leadership. I intend that leading here would cost you something, and that you would get a taste of suffering for what it means to lead. Now, I look at the level of suffering a little differently than students do at that age. I'm like, this isn't always a whole lot that we're calling you to the table for, but I do want it to cost them something to lead here. So that they know that if you want to make an impact for the rest of your life, it's going to mean you choose this over everything else. Yeah. And that's going to be discipline day by day by day. And if students come out of this place with confidence in the Lord, confidence in the identity He's given them and what He's called them to, and His ability to equip them and empower them for the work that He's in, it's maybe the funnest thing that we get to do is watch them go. Saddest thing, but funnest thing to watch. And I'm just barely getting tastes of this now at 10 years, because you're getting to see students that are just faithful in marriage, faithful in the workplace, faithful in raising up kids, right? That's exciting. Yeah, that's cool. And faithfully serving the church, leading in the church. I don't want students that just would sit back and be content to attend. I want students that are like, I'm going to serve this place. This has been the norm, that I would jump in and have a role. I want to serve this place in one way or another. That's cool. We even talked about this a little bit with Will a couple episodes ago, but you guys, your building, it does make what you do more visible, like getting the opportunity to come play music and stuff. We see what's going on a lot more easily than we did in the past when you guys were having to roam and find out how to do everything. But what also has become visible, I think, is like the students, some of them sitting in here with us today, but like the students that went through some of those challenging days of not being so visible. And when you're not visible, sometimes you don't get the same support and help in student leadership. But out of that has come some incredible servants of the church, and we're seeing that now within our Will Sandmans and Skylers and Cole and Sarah, and it's really encouraging to see. Like, I truly feel like God did something with that time to sharpen them, to mold them into leaders that have seen a little more adversity than they would with a building, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been really encouraging, exciting, inspiring to see from a distance. So I think that's pretty special.
Yeah. One of the things I think about is that term grit.
Yeah.
One thing I came in those years coming back to it, and I always said one of my advantages in life was coming from a really interesting hometown.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not a model. I did not come from a model community, but I look back on it really fondly. And the people that I went through those years with, we survived some stuff,
right.
You know, and you come out the other side and it's like, yeah, that prepared me for some things. And I look through those years for students, and man, to be a part of what was going on and to endure took some grit and took some like, no, this is important enough to me. I could slip into the shadows, but I would rather, man, to do whatever it takes to find some community and some help that I need. And and for those that were leading through that time. Yeah. Man, you imagine like we were trying to meet students and you couldn't see their face, you know, through the COVID years. Yeah. It's outside, it's dark.
On top of all that,
I can't even see, eyes, and I think about our leaders who just gutted it out.
Yeah.
It will refuse to just let the year slip away. Yeah. And you look back and you realize that like suffering goes a long way to our sanctification and our preparation. And no doubt that I look at some of those students from that era and the way they're serving the church now. You know, God's calling them to it's not. They're realizing it's not all roses, right?
And not a surprise to you to see them like fill those roles and thrive in them.
Not a surprise to see them tough it out through some tough stuff too.
Right.
Because
that's awesome.
What's another tough chapter? Once you walk through one,
come on,
seeing the Lord come through.
That's awesome.
Keep signing up.
So practically speaking, whoever's listening today could be a college student, could be a grandparent of a college student. What do you guys got going on a weekly basis that a college student could plug into here at the BCM?
Yeah. So we have Bible studies that happen different days, different times. Those are gender specific, and they follow along with where our teaching schedule is for Crossroads, which is our weekly worship service. So when I think about Monday, I think about like Bible studies that are on the schedule. Tuesday nights, we have our Fresh 10, which is in the fall, or 10 weeks specifically for freshmen. We curated like a teaching curriculum for that time that's about 15-20 minutes, and then they break into small groups to go through their discussion questions. It's heavily leans into the fellowship and getting students connected. They're always doing something activity wise afterward. Wednesday we have free lunch 11 to 1. We have local churches that are coming in and providing that meal. And so great chance to get to sit down at the table and get to know some people that you may not get to mix it up with in class. Thursday nights we have Crossroads worship. Thursday nights, 8 o'clock. And that's a ton of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun having our first fall in the building for that, and not having to bounce around campus and have a consistent space. And do appreciate y'all coming to lead worship.
It's been a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
It's fun to be part.
I've watched both of you lead a lot of worship in the old building, so
got to different scene.
It's a little different.
It's a different scene.
This kid, you worry that these kids aren't going to suffer enough,
Yeah.
for
What in
what
the
we
world?
went through
Nobody's
at that old
sweating.
building.
What's happening?
Yeah.
No floods on the
No floods.
stage.
There was no
Yeah, what's
hint of
the flood
mildew
like?
in the air.
That was mildew? That was like Holy Spirit.
And then
But we also have men's and women's ministry that meet once a month,
Awesome.
which is a confession-based ministry. Testimonies are given, and you break up and pray for one another, kind
Very
of
cool.
thing. So that's a breakdown of a weekly basis. We get into a lot more events and mission sending. We're coming up on Missions Month. We kick that off this Thursday, so we're really excited about our partnership with the Macmillans in Germany and also with Hope Fellowship in Boston.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Awesome. Very
some
good.
exciting
So-
things coming up.
Sounds like a formula for cranking out disciples. And
Maybe
so
so.
I extend the challenge to our church or whoever's listening. Now go and make disciples of all nations.